Hey, what's up, YouTube? Wanted to make a quick follow-up video about your streaming device, why you need one, what's the difference between the apps that you can just download on your TV, and honestly, why you shouldn't. Um, Real quick, I wanted to get into that first. I've had to explain to people that you want to treat your TV like it's a monitor, like a computer PC monitor, right? When people buy PC monitors, whether it be for just office work, gaming, anything like that, you're not looking at that monitor and thinking, oh, it has these apps and it's this, that, right? The people who know the most about PC monitors are folks in gaming because that's when they're definitely looking at the specs. They're looking at the refresh rate, your overall resolution, things like that. When we're talking about office work, typically a 1080p a 60 hertz monitor is perfectly fine. But when it comes to the gaming world, right, we're looking for like 244 hertz and up. We're looking for response time. We're looking for just all sorts of different things, right? We're checking those different settings. That you have to think about like this applies to your TV. Now, when you buy your TV, when you buy a high-end TV, right? We're talking about some LG, Sony, Samsung, OLEDs, things like that. Like, right, you're buying these $1,000+ TVs. I mean, and even the cheaper ones, it doesn't really matter, right? If you're buying a 4K TV that's a smart TV, um, you're gonna want to start treating it a little bit differently. Two things to factor in: what is the primary usage of your TV, right? Is it you're just watching TV once in a while? Um, you're really into movies, so you do a lot of streaming, things like that. Um, Plex server, right? If you know what a Plex server is, this definitely is something that applies to you. Um, if your thing is you're trying to enjoy the home theater experience, I can let you know right now, you're almost going to need a streaming device, and there's going to be one in particular you kind of have to get. I wish folks would just market it, these two things together. But this is for an overall video for everybody, right? Because not everybody has a home theater setup. Not everybody needs this device. But you want to start treating your TV like a computer monitor, right? Just treat it like a display, and that's all you want it to do. Just be a display. Uninstall as many apps as possible. Um, you might want to, do a Google search and be like, what on my LG, B2 is okay to uninstall. Like, what are things that I don't need, right? You want that thing as cleared out as possible. You want to be able to turn that TV on and it just right away can move and do what it needs to do, right? If you ever notice, the more apps and more things you have going on with the TV, it begins to slow down, right? The processing speed isn't as quick as it was when you first got it and set it up, right? You got so many things installed, it is slowing that TV down. That's where these streaming devices come in, right? Now, here's the first group of people. I'm talking to people who don't have a home theater. Maybe you have a nice sound bar, and that sound bar totes Dolby Atmos and this, that, the other, right? Maybe you have something decent, right? Or maybe you just have the regular TV speakers. Here's what I'll say right now. Your options are really going to come down to the Amazon Fire TV Cube and the Apple TV 4K, right? I'm not even going to recommend the NVIDIA Shield TV Pro. And I love the NVIDIA Shield TV Pro, but it is not necessary to get one if you don't have a home theater setup. And what I mean by home theater setup, you need to have the minimum Dolby Atmos setup to even really buy the NVIDIA Shield TV Pro. There is no real reason to get this when the Apple TV 4K will actually perform the best out of these three. Literally no reason to look at the NVIDIA Shield TV Pro. Amazon Fire TV Cube, it's not bad, right? It's not horrible. But if I'm being honest, between these three, the Apple TV 4K is the best option. If it's more of a budgetary thing, okay, Amazon Fire TV Cube. So let's go down. Let's look at the differences. I'm using Versus.com. Uh, the benefits, right? We got Wi-Fi. We got good Wi-Fi. The CPU speed. Now here's the thing. They say that the Amazon Fire TV is faster, like way faster than the Apple TV 4K. But from actual like user reviews, people who have both, used both, witnessed both in action, they hands down say the Apple TV 4K way better, a lot faster. So even though CPU speed is apparently supposedly quicker, I'm not necessarily sure it is. Um, it's actually the bigger of the three. I'm pretty sure. Um, or actually, height wise, I guess it depends on how you're doing things, right? So if you have it just regularly, it's a cube. Like it's a straight up cube. It's 86 millimeters by 86 millimeters, no matter how you do this. Um, yeah. So it just all depends, I guess. Um, but it is a block basically, right? The Nvidia Shield TV Pro, that thing is tiny. Like I think it's like the size of a Nintendo DS. The Apple TV, whether you got the 4K or the non 4K, it's basically the size of. I can't even think of a comparison, but those things are pretty small. Um, the cube, I guess you can say it's a small-ish cube, right? These things aren't huge. Um, but this is what we really want to look at, right? Price, it does have the best price. It's the cheapest out of the three, right? It supports Dolby Vision, HDR10 plus, voice commands, has built-in smart TV. Um, you can play Dolby Atmos movies and things through it. Let's see what's truly important here. Now the Fire TV Cube does have Chromecast built in, which is pretty nice. So if you have a TV that you can't use Chromecast with, that's actually a plus. I'm not gonna lie, that is a plus. Um, of course, it's gonna work with Alexa because it's Amazon. It's not gonna work with Google Assistant, which is actually kind of. I feel like they could have made it work if they wanted to, but like I said, it's proprietary stuff. The Amazon Fire TV is gonna work with Alexa, right? It's that simple. Um, we got support for Dolby Digital, Dolby Audio, supports Dolby Digital Plus. Now, you notice, does not. Now, this is going to come back up a little bit later, this DTSX. We're going to come back to that. We're going to spin the block on that. Um, that's an important part of all of this. That's one of the most important parts of all of this. At the end of the day, like hands down, one of the most important parts. Right, it does have HDMI 2.1, like we said, Wi-Fi. It doesn't have HDMI ARC or eARC, which in this case I don't think is super important, but maybe it is. Um, yeah, I mean, I guess in a sense, if you have your sound bar or something like that, I guess that's where that comes into play because this essentially, I want to say, would connect to the ARC or eARC input on the TV, right? And then you would connect that sound bar or whatnot then to this. So typically, I want to say, actually, no. Am I thinking of it the wrong way? I want to say no. I think your device, like so, your PlayStation, like those things is what would connect into the back of that. But it doesn't have any of that. You just would connect this just regular, right, to the TV or your home theater, your AVR. Da 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 da. All right, we're just going through this. Just going through. This is what I want to get to. Let's just rule out the Amazon Fire TV. Because if we're being honest, right, 137.19. The only reason it costs 137.19 is because they're directly competing with the Apple TV 4K. If I can get the Apple TV 4K for 149 bucks, and this is the Wi-Fi and Ethernet model, if I can get that for that price, Amazon has to, like they have to at that point make some changes. Like they have to. Like, I'm kind of killing the game right now. I have a device that for the most part is faster. It's smooth. It's clean. Just the overall aesthetic of it. It I can put all the apps on there for the most part that I want to use. Um, there's just a lot of things to this that are better. Now, keep this in mind. I'm somebody who owns two of these. It even tells you. Just purchased one a month ago, June 28th. I have two NVIDIA Shield TV Pros. And this is where the NVIDIA Shield TV Pro beats both of these. Matter of fact, here's another option that's been popping up in the streets. The Nokia Streaming Box 8010. The NVIDIA Shield TV Pro beats this as well. And it comes down to this one thing. If you have a home theater, right, meaning you got an AVR, you have a 5.1.2 setup minimum, right? Minimum 5.1.2 setup, right? If you have a 3.1 or something like that, you don't necessarily need this. Like I said, you can just go ahead and rock with the Apple TV 4K. But if you have a home theater setup, you're going to want the NVIDIA Shield TV Pro. Almost anybody will tell you in the hi-fi, specifically home theater realm, that the whole reason you did your 5.1.2 setup was for Dolby Atmos, right? Specifically, if you're somebody who's buying 4K ultra high definition Blu-ray, right? You're spending 40, 50, 60, however many dollars on these high-end Blu-rays. The next time you buy a Blu-ray, flip it on the back and look at the audio, and you'll probably see something that says Dolby True HD. You might see something that says DTSX, or it might say DTS HD Master, right? That is the best of the best when it comes to audio. You are truly getting lossless sound on your movie. You're getting the best experience possible for that video you're watching, audio wise. The one thing that this Nokia streaming box and the Apple TV 4K cannot do natively, you gotta do a whole lot of extra stuff to maybe get it to work correctly. It cannot correctly process, pass through, whichever term you want to use. It cannot correctly handle DTSX or Dolby True HD. Only the NVIDIA Shield TV Pro can. Specifically this one. We're not even going to look at the other little cylindrical cube looking one. That, like, do not buy that. This is the one you got to buy. Now, the reason why a lot of people don't want to buy it is because, well, yeah, the Apple TV 4K, faster, more intuitive, this, that, the other, yada, 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 right? We got 128 gigs of space. By every other metric, the Apple TV 4K is the go-to. It's the winner. Except for anybody with a 5.1.2 home theater setup. You almost have to get a NVIDIA Shield TV Pro if you're going to get the most out of whatever $1,000 you just spent. Like I said, I have a video on my channel on how to essentially assemble a home theater setup for less than $900, and this is like tax included. This is all hardware needed, so you got your speaker wire, everything. If I just spent $900 some dollars, $860 to be specific, on an AVR, 7 speakers, a subwoofer, speaker wire, banana plugs, all that fun stuff. If I just spent that money and I go and hop on my Plex server and I go play some Blu-ray rip, right? Let's say I ripped all my Blu-rays, right? I'm going digital, which probably ain't the best idea, but I'm going digital. Or I just got straight to my Blu-ray player and I'm popping in that Blu-ray to play it. And I'm going through the audio, right? Because I just set up this home theater to get the best sound possible. I want my stuff to sound on par and or better than the actual movie theater. Your AVR, that receiver, if you don't have a NVIDIA Shield TV Pro, it is not going to correctly process that Dolby True HD. It's not going to play DTSX. Now DTSX is actually, like I said, it'll be it'll pop up as DTS HDMA, right? It's the same thing as DTSX. You won't get it if you don't got this. I want to say Apple TV 4K will play. I think it natively. I want to say natively. Maybe you can get Dolby True HD, and even then it's kind of debatable because I think it does some conversions. Like I said, even with this Nokia Streaming Box 8010, it's doing conversions, right? Because if I go down here to this chart and I look at it, guess what? It's gonna say that, where is it at? It's actually gonna say that DTSX is supported, but it's actually not. Like it really isn't. What it's doing is it's converting. It's converting the audio to make it work instead of it just playing the way it automatically should. That's the only reason why this Nokia streaming box isn't higher rated than it possibly could be, right? If it was truly doing what the NVIDIA Shield TV Pro was able to do and is certified to do, then a lot of people might be buying this Nokia streaming box. But because it's not able to do that, yet it costs the same as this, yeah. If they drop this to 150, okay, it'll probably pick up in sales. Shoot, if you drop it to the same price as the Amazon Fire TV Cube, I think a lot of people might buy this instead of the Amazon Fire TV Cube. But like I said, a lot of things are not competing with the NVIDIA Shield TV Pro. They just aren't. You would think, and for some reason, uh, on the NVIDIA website, there is a chart that compares them to the Apple TV 4K and all that stuff. But for some reason, on that chart, it mentions nothing about uh, Dolby True HD or DTSX. And I was like, for me, that should be a major selling point, right? Yeah, you got Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos. I guess this is just more of their people-friendly way of selling this, right? But the nerdy people, like, they know what this thing does that other things don't, right? And that's what people are really buying this for, right? If you have an AVR, this is your clear-cut winner. You can get the Apple TV 4K, sure. Especially if you're not watching. Repeat, here's another thing. You can have the home theater set up, but if none of the content you're playing or watching even has True HD or DTSX, once again, please buy the Apple TV 4K. It is the superior device, hands down, at the end of the day. On all technical aspects, it's the better piece of hardware. But if you got the home theater set up, 5.1.2, you're playing Game of Thrones, you're playing just all sorts of. I mean, you are missing out on the actual quality of the movies you have if you don't have this device. Like, if you don't have the NVIDIA Shield TV Pro to unlock what your movie should really sound like. Peace.